Hi everybody, welcome back to Shotlet Family Firewood. So it's Memorial Day weekend, and it has been a weekend of firewood already. I spent the last 2 days basically on a field trip. Went up to the Bear Paw Firewood event that logger Jason put on, and in about a day and a half, we made 30 cords of firewood for the Bear Paw Scout program for their maple syrup, and we had a blast. Jason put it together a great event. If he does it again next year, I would seriously consider going. We worked our tails off, but we had a good time doing it. So with that, while we were gone, my firewood orders really kicked off, or my firewood season really kicked off. The roadside stands got hit pretty good. Our gas station reordered while we were gone, and what I need to do now is get this kiln behind me back in operation. If you've seen the videos before, I built this kiln. It's kind of just see what I could do type of thing. It's not the best, most efficient drying, but it does get the heat treatment levels. I don't sell it as heat treated wood. I sell it as kiln dried, but ultimately it's seasoned out in the yard, and then I heat treat it in here. It's how I've been using it so far. So basically it's a 2-tote box, and then this wood stove behind me, I got to put all the duct work back in, and then we duct the hot air into the box. So I took it apart. I had to get my camper out, and I can show it to you here. All right, so here's the box. 2 totes. Air comes in on this end up high, but I point it down so it goes through the wood, and then exit down in the far end, farthest away from the heat. I had to move the camper out of that corner, so I had to take this all apart because I built it after I put the camper in there and didn't give myself enough room. So there was a lot of questions how I put this together before, and I thought I'd show it. I'm going to put it back together this way because it works. This is not the way I would build it again if I had the choice. And someday I'm going to change it. But right now I need to get heat treating some wood. So if you haven't seen one of this Deka wood furnace, this is a good opportunity because it's tore apart. So the firebox is inside here, and then this heats up, and then the air blows through the channels on the side here. And sorry about the light, my lights are going dead in the shed, but you can see the duct work around here. So the hot air, or the cold air, comes up around this and heats up, and then there goes a cover on the top, and the duct work just gets piped into there. And then from the firebox there, the chimney actually leaves the backside. So we are not heating with the exhaust pipe or with the chimney pipe. That's not what's ducted into the box. So it is just air circulation, and it comes around the firebox to get warm. And then the chimney exits that hole there that I blocked off for the wintertime. So we need to get this put back together. And I'll kind of try and show you the steps along the way. Not sure how great this is going to be. You can see my lights. Or maybe you can't see it, but half of the lights are dead for some reason. I don't know what happened, but anyway. So we're going to get this put back together and get it running, I think. Stay tuned. So normally what I would want to do first is the chimney. However, I need a 90 that I broke when I took it apart. But I had marks on the floor, so I got the stove back in very close to the same position. So we're going to take the chain off and put kind of the ductwork back together. Alright, so I got a flash stick to show you more. So the fan blows fresh air or return air into that flap, and then it circles around this firebox, and that's the ductwork. So we're going to put that cover on, and then we'll put the top on. So we'll do that now. Okay, so the way it is now, a lot of people questioned why I took the air in the top of the box, because warm air rises. But from here, it's just 90 over. I do one down right off of the back 190s right off of the stove, and then the other 190s above it, just so that they can go in the box together. So. Guys, quit it. So we got the first one on, and then next what I do is on the inside, I put one of these, turn down. So then there's not a lot of extra room in here when you get the basket, so try and get that as close to the wall as we can, and that will get the most clearance we can. Alright, time to do the other one. So now we have what is going to be the fresh air or air intake, and picks up the hot air around the firebox and is ducted into the box. And I'll put a turn down on the top one. Okay, that took longer than I needed it to. But basically, that's ducted in the way it's supposed to. Insulated the ductwork just to save a little heat. And we got this whole box lined in plastic just because it does get wet, moisture in there. Try and keep the insulation dry. I'll come back and I'll duct tape around where the inlets are. And then so this end is air coming in. We come to this end. We have air going out. We also have all of our sensors. Decided to put those down here on the cool end. It should be the cool end away from the heat source. So we have two temperature probes that go inside the wood over there. And then we have two
temperature sensors here. One is for recording, actually one's humidity level, and the other one is high temperature. So we run, when we run the dual fuel system, we run that off of the dual temperature, or off of the temperature sensor, the black cord, and we record humidity levels off of that one right there. And then, like I said, these are the two. That's the one we record. That's the other one just for reference. And those go inside about halfway, 16-inch piece of wood. They go 7 to 8 inches into the piece of wood. And I do that. The reason there's so much cord in here is I do that at the bottom. I do that near the return. So that should be the coldest spot. Is where the air is leaving, I would think, would be the coldest spot in here. And so that's where I take the temperature in the piece of wood. So that way I make sure I get everything above the 140, and we make sure it stays there for at least an hour. We just did some pink insulation board on the floor with a couple of 2x4s, so the baskets basically sit on the 2x4s. You can see there's a little indentation. They do a little settling on that, but basically the weight goes on the 2x4, and the insulation just helps keep the heat in. I don't know where he went. So, all right. The other thing we do is, so we have the return air. It's hard to show you on the other end right now, but we have the return air ducted through here, flexible ductwork. And what we'll do is I actually return air, return the air through the fan, and that way we're not getting when I'm trying to get that 140 level in the wood. This lets me recirculate that hot air just to pick up more hot air. So. So on wood alone, I've gotten it up to 200 in the box. Last fall, before it got cold, this winter when I was running it, I had to use the dual fuel system to get to the 200, 205 degrees in the box. So, yeah, we got some cleanup to do, and we'll clean out the firebox. And then when we get that done, I'll show you with the totes in there, and we'll get this thing going. All right, so we got our chimney back together. I did not have a good vantage point to be filming while I was in there, so I didn't. So I put the chimneys back together, and we just got to put the cap on the outside, and we are going to be ready to load this thing up. So again, exhaust, chimney, high temperatures go out the stack, and just the circulating air that picks up the warm air around the heat box goes through the ductwork and into our box. So, yeah, we'll get her going. Okay, guys, so we have load one, or basket one, already in the kiln. It's a mix of maple and walnut for the most part. This basket here is all maple. But this one is going to be where our temperature sensors are. So we need to drill our holes for our sensors. So the sensors are different sizes. So we need different size drill bits. So we got these long drill bits so we can get all the way to the middle. And then we pick a nice decent size one, and we do it near the bottom on the cold air side. So it should be near the coldest temperature in the box. So I'm gonna go with this nice big one right here, drill right down the middle. All right, we're just starting. So We take a piece of firewood, lay it up next to it. We're almost in the middle there. I don't know if you can see that. So that's how far in we are. That's how far in our sensor will be. So that one's good. Now the other sensor is quite a bit bigger. And this one is just kind of a check. This is not one, this one doesn't record. This kind of is just a check to make sure that the other one is kind of in the right ballpark as well. So I'm just going to pick another similar size one right above. And we're about that deep again, so should be plenty of deep in there. So yeah, next thing is we'll set that in the kiln, put the sensors in, close the door. It's kind of tricky. We got a big skid loader, not such a big opening, and we're working around a bunch of other stuff in the shed here, so can be a little finicky to get things in here. Okay, so you can see our totes are in there, and unfortunately you can't really see when I put the sensors in, so I'll bring you back in a minute. All right, so 2 totes are loaded. We got our sensor wires in those holes we just drilled. What we're gonna do now is just close it up. This door is not sealed. It's just 2x2 or 2x4 frames that come together. And so I got some handles on this door. I'm gonna pull the door across. All right, before I close this up, I like to grab a broom and just get any of the debris right by the door here away from there. Just helps it keep a little tighter seal. And I just close it with these clamps. There's one on this end. Okay. There is a little bit of a gap up here. So I just lay a strip of insulation up along there. So kind of tuck it in there a little bit. And like I said, it's not sealed. There's still air that comes out there, but it's minimal enough that it doesn't take away from the heating effect, and it does allow some of the moisture to escape. So basically that's it. We got our wood in the box. It's Sunday, it's actually Monday night now, so I got a week of work. Probably not gonna light this up till maybe Thursday night. That way Thursday during the day it can warm up. Friday it'll kind of it'll warm up more, but it'll get there. And then when I'm home Saturday, hopefully I can finish off this run. Typically to do the heat treatment, when I'm gone anyway, it won't get as hot. So typically when I'm coming to a weekend like that, it takes 3 days. We can get the inside wood temp up to about 100-ish. the first day, first night, and then we can come up from there. Now that might be a little different. I've never run it when it's this warm out, 70 degrees. So it should be a lot easier to get the wood temp higher. So maybe we can do it faster than I thought or than I think, but I got to get my, if you go back and watch the other videos, I got to get my temp and humidity recorder device out here, and we'll be ready to go. So again, this is not what I would build if I were to do it again. I don't recommend you build it this way. I'm sure it's not insurable because I got a wood stove out in a outbuilding. However, it is what it is. I'm not terribly worried about it. I keep everything nice and clean around the stove. You know, they put them in basements that are tighter than this. So I'm happy with it for now. Someday I will make one that is legit. I have I think, you know, thinking through things after doing this one and learning things, I have a much better idea for one. That would be a standalone outside deal. That way I can have my shed space. One of the big issues here is it takes up so much room in the shed, not only the unit itself, but then to be able to get the skid loader turned in to load it, I have to keep the shed pretty much empty to do it. So with that being said, I truly appreciate you watching. Stay tuned. We crossed 1,000 subscribers. So we're going to be doing a giveaway. And then after that video, should be a video or two. I'm not sure how it's going to break down yet, of the Bear Paw Firewood event. Again, if you haven't seen that, if you didn't see that, go back, watch Logger Jason's live. You'll hear some of it, and watch for Craig's Cords to Coals will have videos on it. Logger Jason will have videos on it. Tyler at Firewood Fella will have videos, and so will Chris at In the Woodyard, as well as Bob from Wolf Ridge. So there'll be plenty of great content on that event. We had a blast. Please go check out those other channels, and help Craig get to 500 subscribers so we can see what's under that car cover. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.